I freaking love this silly toy camera. I see it and I think, oh, I want to use that. I'm just always excited about it. And I get so many compliments on it when I'm out using it because it's so colorful and plastic. But even the people who appreciate its derpy appearance don't even know how cool it actually is. That's right, it prints cheap, low-quality images on thermal paper. My dog is going to snore throughout this video. I am so sorry. Jackie. Now, I've used the photos this camera prints in zines before, but I don't think I've ever used them this well before. Basically, I just leaned into the scrapbooky nature of this. I always try to keep a trip journal, and I usually give up after the second day because there's so much going on. But I actually finished this one, and I think it's because of the camera. My original idea was to use stickers to stick down the photos. Luckily, one of the first places we went to was an art gallery in Manchester, and they sold washi tape in individual rolls in their gift shop. Here you see I taped in the wrapper from the best gingerbread ever, and I used that as a pocket for stray photos as I was printing stuff out and then taking the time to tape them down later. So I was able to take digital photos all day, print the ones I wanted for the scrapbook later on the bus, and then tape them down quickly. Then I could go back and add notes and stickers and other ephemera from the trip, and I really love the result. One thing about these thermal prints is that they do fade over time, so I knew I'd be scanning these pages when I got home to preserve them anyway. So I always considered the possibility that I might make it into a zine. I won't be selling it in my shop just because it's a record of my time chaperoning a student trip, and I think that would be weird. Oh my gosh, I almost forgot to tell you, I got to see Stonehenge for my inner child. This was a very cool little stop that we made on our trip. But I did make 2 copies. One I made for our tour director. He was so awesome and the kids loved him, so we're sending him a care package with thank you notes in it and stuff, and I made a copy to include in that. This copy I'm making today is for 2 of the students who were on the trip, Leah and Cora. They inspired a great deal of the scrapbook, and Leah drew the art that I used for the cover. I'd like to make a zine using these techniques that I could sell in the shop. It's more labor intensive than the zines I've made in the past, as you'll see. So if I do end up making a zine in this style, it would need to be in a limited quantity. The first little snafu in the production of this zine is just how long it takes to print out. I scanned every page in full color at 600 dpi, and I'm printing from InDesign, where I just have all the scans laid out so I can print them as a booklet. It's 48 pages long, I know, which translates to 12 pieces of printer paper. Each of these pieces takes 5 minutes of processing before my printer actually prints the pages. And then there's a few extra pages with extra elements I add to the zine later. So it takes over an hour for me to print 1 copy. Then I cut it down and assemble it, which I'll show you as we go. So as for the extra bits I mentioned, this is a scan of the gingerbread wrapper I used as a pocket. I'll be using it for the same function in the zine. I also scanned this brochure, and I used it to make a flap that you can fold out to see more photos from Stratford. By the way, we went on a nice walk by the river, and I saw a black swan. The other extra bits I printed out were a scan of the bag tag so you can lift it to reveal the photo underneath. Most importantly, I printed these pages separately as a mini zine because it is a silly short story I wrote about Leah and Cora, and the kids liked it so much when I read it to them on the bus for my notes app, I knew it deserved to be its own zine. But we'll get to that later. In case you were wondering if I'm still using this suitcase as a zine kit, hell yeah I am!
Samsonite.
As you can see, this vintage Samsonite suitcase holds all my zine assembling and zine shipping tools, as well as a stashy McStash of all the zines currently available in my shop. Honestly, am I amazing or what? If you'd like to see me putting the kit together, I'll have that video linked below. So once I got all the zine making supplies laid out and figured out where the pages of the zine went, I started trimming on the zine. So for the first copy I made, the one that I'm sending to Alistair, I meticulously trimmed every page individually because no matter how hard you try, when you print stuff at home, it never actually aligns the way you think it's supposed to. So this go round, I just did a couple pages at a time, and honestly, I don't think the result is much different. I then went through and folded the pages just barely really, and then went over them with a bone folder thingy. I've never used this tool much. I really only bought it for myself recently when I was making the zine kit and was trying to think of things that I would need. I don't use it often because usually the zines I make are not that thick. But since this zine was 12 printer pages, I knew it was going to be really bulky, and I wanted to use the bone folder to give it the best possible chance of really having a crisp fold and laying flat. And I really enjoyed using it. I don't use it often because I usually don't make zines that are this chunky. Once I had them all folded and it felt like it was going to be good and flat, I went ahead and stapled it with the long arm stapler. And that is that phase done. Now we have to move on to putting the extra elements in. This is the scan of the bag tag that I got at the gate. We were delayed multiple times. This is the scan of my coworker, his foot and his face. This is the gingerbread. And then this is that panel that I'm going to tape in that's going to give us some extra space for the photos I took on the day we were in Stratford. So I didn't get too precious about it. I used clear tape because I wanted you to be able to see the washi tape that had been there on the original scan. And I taped the front and the back of these flappy parts just so hair and stuff doesn't get on the sticky tape. This is something that I would like to last a while. I took some extra time to nail down exactly the alignment on this flap with the Stratford brochure, and like the other one, I reinforced it on the other side with more of the clear tape. And then this section, I already had the picture of the foot scanned, so I just lined up the pattern on the washi tape and taped down this picture of his face, and then I lined up the picture of his foot and taped it in. So there's our zine with the cover that Leah drew, and now I'm going to fold the mini zine with the short story on it. When I do one-pagers like this, I will fold it very softly on the first go-round. I really try to match up the corners as well as I can on one side, flip it, and then match up that corner, and just leave it kind of like a soft fold to be a good guide. Then I flip it and cut this section on the inside. I only cut it like right past the crease line on the center, and that just kind of helps us to manipulate it a little bit better. so that when we're trying to fold it into a book, it will lay a little bit flatter. Because I just did the soft folds, now I can use them as a guideline and try to get everything lined up and then press it flat and actually crease it with a hard crease. Here I'm just writing the word pull with 2 arrows so that when they come to this page in the zine, they'll know what to do. And this is what the gingerbread wrapper pocket is for. Wouldn't you know it? It just fit perfectly. Couldn't have planned it better. And that's the finished zine. It is so cool, so special, and it is definitely the first time I feel like I've really followed through on a project like this that surrounded a trip that we were doing. I really enjoyed making it, and it's so cool that I have this special thing that I can share with the other chaperones or with my students, the tour guide, and we all have this connection from this trip that we made together. Okay, so this is the short story I wrote for 2 of my silly little students who sat behind me and Emily, my co-worker and another chaperone on the trip. They sat behind us and made us giggle the entire time we were on the bus for 10 straight days. And also, I ran into the 2 of them on the path several times in the garden at Wordsworth's cottage, and that and just the 2 of them is what inspired this silly little short story that I'm about to read to you now. It's called The Tiny Goblin Sisters. "My head is cold," the fair-haired girl said to her dark-haired sister. "Let's crochet each other hats," said the dark-haired girl. "I'll make you one, and you make me one, and then our heads will be warm." "Yeah," said the fair-haired girl, "only I don't have any lamb's wool to make you a hat." "Oh yeah, me neither," said the dark-haired girl. "Let's go ask Kai the Sage. If he has any lamb's wool we can use to make hats." "Oh yeah," exclaimed the fair-haired girl. "Kai would know where to get lamb's wool. He wears a hat every day." "That's what I'm saying," said the dark-haired girl, and the 2 left the hole in the tree where they snuggled up together every evening and went in search of Kai the Sage. Human girls could easily manage the stone steps that led to the summer house where Kai the Sage was known to hang out and keep an eye on the general goings-on in the garden. But these were little goblin girls so tiny they had to hoist each other up the steps, so their journey was very tiring. Halfway up the stone path, the dark-haired girl stopped and said, "I'm sleepy." So the fair-haired girl made a little nest out of leaves, and the 2 took a nap together under the ferns that lined the stone steps. While sleeping, the fair-haired girl had a dream of a beautiful unicorn named Emily James, spinning yarn out of her rainbow-streaked mane in a field of daffodils. "I know where to get yarn for our hats," the fair-haired girl shouted, awakening from her dream so abruptly. "Your hair is soft and warm like a baby bunny," said the dark-haired one, never opening her eyes. Come on," said the fair-haired girl. "We have to go see the beautiful unicorn Emily James. She's making yarn so we can crochet hats, and then we'll both have heads like warm bunnies." "But what about Kai the Sage?" asked the dark-haired one, rolling out from under a blanket of moss. "Leah, aren't you listening? I said she's a friggin' unicorn." "Oh yeah," said the dark-haired girl. So the girls followed their new plan all the way to the daffodil field, and there was indeed a beautiful unicorn named Emily James there, and she was very beautiful. As though she already knew why the girls were there, Emily James began spinning her gorgeous and clean unicorn hair into shiny rainbow-streaked yarn. "Oh my gosh, Cora," said the dark-haired girl. "Now we can crochet each other hats to keep our heads warm." "But I don't know how to crochet," the fair-haired girl said. "I'm only 3." "Oh no, me too!" exclaimed the dark-haired girl. The unicorn sighed the very patient sigh of a not at all annoyed unicorn, and took the yarn from the two goblin girls. Using her unicorn horn, Emily James quickly crocheted 2 hats for the girls and sent them on their way. Back home, in the hole in the tree, the goblin girls snuggled up to go to sleep. "I'm hungry," the fair-haired girl said. "Let's make gingerbread in the morning." "You know how to make gingerbread?" asked the dark-haired girl, amazed. "No, but we'll ask Kai the Sage. He'll know how to make gingerbread." "Oh yeah," said the dark-haired girl. And so the girls woke up the next morning and set off for the summer house to ask Kai the Sage about gingerbread, and then abandoned that plan when they remembered the best gingerbread is sold behind a church in Grassmere. But that is a tale for another day. So that is the zine. Before we go, I would love to show you some really cool footage I got when we were in London. The second day we were in London, we had extra time and we were hitting a wall with just how exhausted we were from 10 days of nonstop travel. And so we took some of the kids to the Tate Modern and saw this really incredible installation of radios that were arranged into a tower, and it's called Babel 2001. Also, our tour director took us through this alleyway where people play music and dance and create street art, and it was honestly the coolest thing I saw the entire time I was in London. I was on cloud 9. You can see here some kids who just look absolutely confused, and I am so excited. I wish, if it hadn't been a chaperoning situation and I hadn't been 10 days into an exhausting tour, it would have been really cool to come down there at night and just see what was going on and feel the vibe. This side tunnel was insane. There is a Banksy on this wall. I swear to God, it's just a Banksy behind plexiglass. And this ceiling just absolutely sent me over the edge. Look how freaking cool this is. This is me and Leah just geeking out over how beautiful everything is surrounding us.
You look incredible!
Looking at the zine again, I think it would be a lot more polished if I used my corner rounder on it. Since the journal itself has rounded corners, it kind of looks better to have the corners taken off. And this is just one of those extra little steps where you can't stop looking at it and coming up with more things you could do. But I think this one, it made sense to do it, and it actually looks a lot cleaner with the corners rounded. Anyway, guys, I hope this inspires you to make something cool, and if it does, please tag me. I would love to see it. In the meantime, keep making and do it yourself.